There's a secret that billionaires, elite athletes, and the most influential minds of our generation guard fiercely. It's not about working harder. It's not about waking up at 4 a.m. And it's definitely not about some magical investment strategy they learned from a book. It's something far more dangerous, something they discovered in ancient texts written over 2,000 years ago by Roman emperors and Greek philosophers. And here's the uncomfortable truth. They don't want you to know this, because the moment you understand it, you stop being controlled by the very system that makes them rich. If you're watching this right now, chances are you're tired of chasing money and feeling empty when you get it, tired of watching others succeed while you're stuck in the same cycle of anxiety and financial stress, tired of that voice in your head that whispers you're not good enough, not wealthy enough, not successful enough. I'm about to share what took me years to understand, and trust me, by the end of this video, you'll never look at money, success, or your own potential the same way again. Welcome to Stoic mentality. And this is the truth about Stoicism and money that successful people will never tell you. Before we dive into the depths of what I'm about to reveal, I need you to understand something crucial. This isn't motivational fluff. This isn't some feel-good philosophy that tells you money doesn't matter and you should live in a cave. That's a distortion of Stoicism that keeps people broke and confused. The real Stoics? They weren't poor monks rejecting the world. Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful man on earth, ruling the Roman Empire at its peak. His net worth in today's money would dwarf most billionaires. Seneca was one of the wealthiest men in Rome, with estates, investments, and political influence that would make modern hedge fund managers envious. Cato the Younger came from one of Rome's richest families and managed enormous wealth while maintaining ironclad principles. So why does everyone think Stoicism is about rejecting money? Because the people who benefit from your financial ignorance want you to believe that. They want you confused. They want you to either worship money like a god or reject it like a sin. Both extremes keep you trapped. The truth sits in the middle, in a place most people never discover. And that's exactly what we're uncovering today. I've structured this video into 7 revelations, 7 secrets that connect ancient Stoic wisdom to modern wealth in ways that will fundamentally shift your relationship with money. But I need something from you first. I need your full attention. Not your half attention while you scroll through your phone. Not your distracted mind wandering to what you'll eat for dinner. I need you present. Because what you're about to learn isn't information, it's transformation. And transformation requires presence. If you can commit to that, let's begin. Lesson 1, the Stoic paradox of wealth. Here's the first secret successful people never tell you. They don't actually want money, they want what money represents. Read that again. Every billionaire, every successful entrepreneur, every person who has achieved financial freedom understands this at their core. They just don't articulate it because it sounds counterintuitive. You see, the average person chases money thinking the money itself will bring happiness. They imagine a bank account with 7 figures and believe that image alone will dissolve their anxiety, their insecurity, their deep-seated fear of not being enough. But the Stoics understood something profound. Epictetus, a man who was born a slave and owned literally nothing for most of his life, wrote something that echoes through the centuries. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Now, before you dismiss this as some poverty mindset nonsense, understand what he's actually saying. He's not saying, don't pursue wealth. He's saying, don't let wealth pursue you. There's a massive difference. The successful person doesn't wake up thinking, I need more money to feel okay about myself. They wake up thinking, how can I create more value today? The money becomes a byproduct, a measurement of value created, a tool for expanding impact. But the unsuccessful person, they wake up with a hole in their chest, a void they believe money will fill, and no matter how much they earn, the void remains. Because the void was never about money in the first place. This is the paradox. The people who are most obsessed with money rarely get it, and the people who genuinely don't need it to feel complete often attract enormous amounts of it. Why? Because the universe, the market, other people, they can sense desperation. They can feel when someone is grasping, clutching, reaching from a place of lack rather than abundance. And desperation repels opportunity. Marcus Aurelius, while managing the vast treasury of Rome, wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." He could have anything he wanted, anything. Palaces, pleasures, possessions beyond imagination. And yet he understood that none of it touched the core of his well-being. This isn't rejection of money. This is freedom from money. And that freedom, that's what creates wealth. Because when you don't need the deal, you negotiate better. When you don't need the client, you attract more of them. When you don't need the money, you make clearer decisions that often lead to more of it. Successful people understand this loop. They just don't explain it because it sounds like a riddle. But now you know. The first secret: chase value, not money. Build internal wealth first and watch how external wealth follows. Lesson 2: the dichotomy of control and your finances. If you've spent any time studying Stoicism, you've heard about the dichotomy of control. It's perhaps the most famous Stoic principle outlined by Epictetus in his Enchiridion. Some things are within our power, while others are not. Within our power are opinion, motivation, desire, aversion, and in a word, whatever is of our own doing. Not within our power are our body, our property, reputation, office, and, in a word, whatever is not of our own doing. Most people read this and think they understand it, but they don't, not really. Because if they truly understood it, they would never lose sleep over a stock market crash. They would never feel anxious about a business decision. They would never experience that crushing weight of financial uncertainty. Let me show you how this principle actually applies to money in ways successful people have mastered, but never verbalize. What you control, your skills and ability to develop them, your work ethic and daily habits, your financial education and willingness to learn, your spending decisions and lifestyle choices, your emotional response to gains and losses, your strategy and adaptability, your persistence through obstacles, what you don't control. The economy, market conditions, other people's decisions about your worth, whether your business succeeds or fails, whether you get the job or the promotion, timing and luck. Global events that impact your industry. Here's what separates the wealthy from the perpetually struggling. The wealthy pour 100% of their energy into what they control and release attachment to what they don't. The struggling do the opposite. They obsess over the market, over what their competitors are doing, over timing, over luck, all things beyond their control, and they neglect the very things they can actually change. I've seen this pattern hundreds of times. Someone starts a business, and instead of focusing on improving their product, learning from customers, and showing up consistently, they obsess over why the algorithm isn't favoring them, why the economy is bad, why people aren't buying. They waste their precious mental energy on things they cannot influence, while ignoring the actions that would actually move the needle. Seneca observed this same behavior 2,000 years ago in Rome. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Most financial anxiety exists in the mind, not in reality. Think about it. How many catastrophic financial scenarios have you imagined that never actually happened? How many nights have you lost sleep over money fears that never materialized? Successful people aren't successful because they don't have those thoughts. They're successful because they've trained themselves to recognize those thoughts as what they are: fiction, projections, and they bring themselves back to what's real and what's actionable. Here's a practical exercise the Stoics used. Every morning, before you check your phone, before you look at your investments, before you do anything related to money, ask yourself, what is within my control today regarding my financial life? And what will I actually do about it? Write it down, then do it. And when the anxious thoughts come, and they will, recognize them as projections about things outside your control. Thank your mind for trying to protect you and return to your work. This single shift, practiced daily, will change everything. Lesson 3. How the wealthy use Stoic principles without knowing it. Here's something that might surprise you. Many of the most successful people in the modern world practice Stoicism without ever having read a single Stoic text. They've developed these principles through experience, through failure, through years of trial and error that eventually led them to the same conclusions the ancient philosophers reached millennia ago. Tim Ferriss, who has interviewed over 700 of the world's top performers, discovered something fascinating. When he looked for common patterns among billionaires, elite athletes, and world-class creators, one thread kept appearing. Almost all of them had some practice of negative visualization. This is an ancient Stoic technique called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Seneca described it like this: "What is quite unlooked for is more crushing in its effect, and unexpectedness adds to the weight of a disaster." The fact that it was unforeseen has never failed to intensify a person's grief. This is a reason for ensuring that nothing ever takes us by surprise. We should project our thoughts ahead of us at every turn and have in mind every possible eventuality instead of only the usual course of events. In simple terms, mentally rehearse what could go wrong before it happens. The struggling person tries to only think positive thoughts. They avoid imagining failure. They believe that if they think about bad outcomes, they'll attract them. And when disaster strikes, as it inevitably does, they're devastated, paralyzed, destroyed. The Stoic, the successful person, does the opposite. They regularly imagine losing everything. They sit with the feeling of bankruptcy, of failure, of their business collapsing. They don't do this to be pessimistic. They do it for two powerful reasons. First, preparation. When you've mentally rehearsed disaster, you're not caught off guard when it arrives. You've already made peace with the possibility. You can think clearly while others panic. This is why successful investors don't panic sell during market crashes. They've already imagined this scenario 100 times. They've already decided what they would do. They execute calmly while the unprepared masses make emotional decisions that cost them everything. Second, appreciation. When you regularly imagine losing what you have, you appreciate it more deeply in the present moment. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not act as if you had 10,000 years to live. Death hangs over you. While you live, while you have the chance, become good." The wealthy person who has genuinely internalized the fragility of their wealth doesn't take it for granted. They savor it, they use it wisely, they remain hungry yet grateful. This is the dual edge of negative visualization. It prepares you for the worst while helping you appreciate the present. At Stoic Mentality, we often discuss how ancient wisdom applies to modern challenges. And this technique is perhaps the most directly applicable. Tonight, before you sleep, try this. Imagine you've lost your job. Your savings are gone. Your investments have collapsed. Sit with that feeling for just 2 minutes. Don't run from it. Then open your eyes and realize none of that has happened. You still have what you have, and now you appreciate it more than you did 5 minutes ago. Do this regularly, and you'll find yourself making better financial decisions, not from fear, but from clarity. Lesson 4, the Stoic approach to ambition. There's a misconception that Stoicism tells you to suppress ambition, to want less, to accept your current circumstances passively and never strive for more. This is perhaps the most dangerous distortion of Stoic philosophy, and it's kept countless people broke, unfulfilled, and convinced that their dissatisfaction with their financial life is somehow virtuous. Let me be absolutely clear. The Stoics were some of the most ambitious people who ever lived. Marcus Aurelius could have spent his days in luxury, yet he chose to personally lead military campaigns at the frozen borders of the empire, sacrificing comfort for duty. Seneca could have retired to a quiet life, yet he continued to write, to counsel, to influence, knowing full well the political dangers. Cato could have compromised his principles for an easy life, yet he fought until his final breath for what he believed was right. These were not passive men. These were not men who shrugged at the world and said, whatever. These were warriors, philosophers in action, ambitious to their core. The difference? They directed their ambition correctly. See, there are two types of ambition. Ego-driven ambition, the desire to accumulate for the sake of having more than others. The need to prove yourself through possessions. The endless chase for external validation through wealth and status. Purpose-driven ambition, the desire to create, to contribute, to maximize your potential and impact. The drive to become who you're capable of becoming. The hunger to solve problems and leave the world better than you found it. The Stoics rejected the first type and embraced the second. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Life is long enough, and a sufficiently generous amount has been given to us for the highest achievements if it were all well invested. This is not a man telling you to want less. This is a man telling you to stop wasting time and start achieving. The Stoic approach to wealth isn't about suppressing your desire for financial success. It's about purifying that desire. Ask yourself honestly, why do you want money? If your answer is rooted in fear, insecurity, or the need to prove something to others, your ambition is corrupted. And even if you achieve wealth, it won't satisfy you. The void will remain. But if your answer is rooted in purpose, in freedom, in creation, in contribution, in becoming your best self, then your ambition is aligned with Stoic wisdom. And that aligned ambition becomes unstoppable. Because you're no longer chasing to fill a hole. You're building to express your potential. You're creating because it's who you are. You're accumulating resources because they amplify your ability to do good. This is the ambition of the greats, and it's available to you right now if you're willing to examine your motives honestly. CTA, the hyper moment. I need to pause here and speak directly to you. If what you're learning is resonating, if you feel something shifting in how you understand money and Stoicism, I have a request. You see, Stoic mentality exists for one reason: to bring this ancient wisdom to people who are suffering, people trapped in anxiety about money, people who've never been taught that there's another way to relate to wealth and success. And we can only continue this mission with your support. Right now, you'll see a button that says Hyper next to the like button. That's the currency of this community. It's how you show that this wisdom matters, that you want more of it, that you're committed to this journey. When you click Hyper, you're not just supporting a channel. You're voting for a world where ancient wisdom reaches modern minds. You're saying that philosophy matters, that depth matters, that there's still a place for substance in a world of shallow entertainment. So if this video has given you even one insight that shifts your perspective, click that Hyper button now. It takes 2 seconds. And it ensures we can keep bringing this wisdom to those who need it most. Do it now, and let's continue. Lesson 5. Wealth as a tool, not a goal. Here's the 5th secret. Money is a tool. Nothing more, nothing less. This sounds obvious. Everyone says it, but almost no one lives it. You can tell someone doesn't truly understand this by how they behave when money is gained or lost. If you feel a surge of identity-level joy when you make money, money isn't a tool for you. It's your worth. If you feel crushing despair when you lose money, money isn't a tool for you. It's your identity. The Stoics understood that external things, including money, are what they called preferred indifference. That's a technical Stoic term that means things that are good to have, that we can pursue, but that don't touch our fundamental well-being or virtue. Health is a preferred indifferent. Reputation is a preferred indifferent. And yes, wealth is a preferred indifferent. It's preferred because obviously life is easier with money than without. Only a fool would deny that. But it's indifferent because it has no bearing on whether you're a good person, whether you're living well, whether you're fulfilling your potential as a human being. This distinction is crucial. The reason most people suffer around money is that they've made it a core part of their identity. When they have money, they're worthy. When they don't, they're worthless. This creates a constant emotional roller coaster that destroys their peace and actually impairs their ability to make good financial decisions. Think about it. How can you think clearly about investments when your entire sense of self is on the line with every fluctuation? How can you negotiate well when the outcome determines your worth as a human being? You can't. The stakes are too high, and paradoxically, making money too important makes you worse at getting it. The successful person has decoupled their identity from their bank account. They want money, they work for money, they're excellent with money. But they don't need money to feel complete. Seneca was once challenged about his immense wealth. People said he was a hypocrite, a Stoic philosopher living in luxury. His response was profound. The wise man does not love riches, but he would rather have them. He does not admit them to his heart, but to his house. Read that again. Money is welcome in your house. It serves practical purposes. It creates options. It provides security. But it should never enter your heart. It should never become who you are. This is the posture of the wealthy. Money is my tool, not my master. Money is my servant, not my God. Money is in my house, not in my heart. Adopt this posture and watch how your entire financial life transforms. Lesson 6. The hidden practice of the successful. There's a practice that almost every genuinely successful person does that they rarely talk about publicly. It's not sexy. It doesn't make for good social media content. And it contradicts the image of effortless success that most wealthy people want to project. But it's perhaps the most important practice for building lasting wealth. It's called voluntary discomfort. The Stoics practiced this religiously. Seneca would periodically live on minimal food, wear simple clothes, and sleep on a hard surface, despite having access to every luxury imaginable. He wrote, "Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, 'Is this the condition that I feared?'" Why would a wealthy man deliberately experience poverty? 3 reasons. First, to conquer fear. Most people's financial anxiety isn't about money itself. It's about the fear of losing their lifestyle, the fear of discomfort, the fear of what they would have to give up. When you voluntarily experience that discomfort, you realize it's not as bad as you imagined. The fear loses its grip, and you can make decisions from clarity rather than terror. Second, to maintain hunger. Nothing destroys ambition faster than comfort. When you're always comfortable, you become soft. You stop pushing. You coast. Voluntary discomfort keeps the edge sharp. It reminds you that you're capable of more, that you don't need the comforts you've accumulated, that you're still a warrior underneath the nice clothes. Third, to appreciate what you have. Nothing makes you grateful for hot water like a cold shower. Nothing makes you appreciate your bed like sleeping on the floor. Nothing makes you value your wealth like temporarily living without it. This isn't masochism. This is training. The most successful people I know, people with genuinely substantial wealth, still practice forms of this. They fast regularly. They train hard physically. They take cold showers. They sometimes fly economy by choice. They periodically review what they could cut from their lives if they needed to. They do this not because they have to, but because they understand. Comfort is the enemy of growth, and the fear of losing comfort is a prison. Here's how you can start. Once a week, choose a discomfort intentionally. Maybe it's a 24-hour fast. Maybe it's a cold shower. Maybe it's sleeping on the floor. Maybe it's going an entire day spending zero money. Feel the discomfort fully and realize this is manageable. This is fine. This isn't the monster you feared. Do this consistently, and your relationship with money will fundamentally change. You'll make bolder decisions. You'll take smarter risks. You'll negotiate harder because you're not desperate to maintain a lifestyle you fear losing. This is the hidden practice. Now you know. Lesson 7. The Stoic relationship with loss. We need to talk about loss, not because it's pleasant, but because your relationship with loss determines your relationship with gain. Here's what I mean. Most people are so afraid of losing money that they sabotage their ability to make it. They don't invest because they might lose. They don't start businesses because they might fail. They don't negotiate for raises because they might be rejected. They don't take calculated risks because the downside terrifies them. And so they stay stuck, safe, and poor. The Stoics had a fundamentally different relationship with loss. They understood that everything we have is on loan. Every possession, every relationship, every achievement, even our own lives. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight." Think about the depth of that statement. Loss is just change, and change is the fundamental nature of reality. Everything you have right now will eventually be gone. Your money, your possessions, your status, all of it will change hands, decay, or be forgotten. This isn't morbid, this is freeing. Because when you truly accept that loss is inevitable, you stop being controlled by the fear of it. And when you stop being controlled by fear, you can finally take intelligent action. Here's the paradox that successful people understand, but rarely articulate. Accepting loss doesn't lead to carelessness, it leads to courage. When you've made peace with the possibility of losing everything, you can finally think clearly about risk. You can see opportunities that fear-driven minds can't see. You can take actions that terrified people can't take. This is why the most successful people can make big bets that others won't. Not because they're reckless, but because they've already processed the worst-case scenario. They've already accepted the potential loss. And from that place of acceptance, they can evaluate the opportunity clearly. Seneca said, "Let us balance life's books each day." The one who puts the finishing touches on their life each day is never short of time. But if you've already made peace with losing everything, what is there to fear? And when there's nothing to fear, what is there you can't do? This is the ultimate financial freedom, not the freedom of having so much money that you can't lose it, but the freedom of having so settled a mind that loss can't disturb you. This is what successful people never tell you. Not because they're hiding it maliciously, but because it sounds too strange, too philosophical, too detached from the practical realities of building wealth. But it's the foundation everything else is built upon. Let me weave these 7 secrets together so you can carry them with you. Secret 1. The wealthy don't chase money, they chase value. They've built internal wealth that makes external wealth flow naturally. Secret 2. The wealthy focus obsessively on what they control and release attachment to what they don't. This isn't resignation, it's strategic energy management. Secret 3. The wealthy practice negative visualization, rehearsing loss to prepare for it and appreciate what they have. Secret 4. The wealthy are ambitious, but their ambition is purpose-driven, not ego-driven. They want to create, not just accumulate. Secret 5. The wealthy treat money as a tool, not a goal. It lives in their house, not their heart. Secret 6. The wealthy practice voluntary discomfort to conquer fear, maintain hunger, and appreciate abundance. Secret 7. The wealthy have accepted loss as inevitable, which frees them to take intelligent risks that others can't. These 7 secrets form a complete philosophy of wealth that transcends tactics and strategies. They address the internal architecture that determines whether any external approach will work. You could have the best investment strategy in the world, but if your relationship with money is corrupted by fear, ego, and attachment, you'll sabotage yourself. You could have modest financial knowledge, But if your internal architecture is sound, if you've integrated these 7 secrets, you'll build wealth naturally, almost inevitably. This is what separates the truly successful from those who merely appear successful, and now you have access to it. Before we close, I want to identify who's really here. See, many people will watch this video, but not all of them are genuine seekers, and I want to know you. In the comments below, write the word fortis. It's Latin. It means strong, brave, courageous. It's what the Stoics aspired to be. By writing fortis, you're not just leaving a comment. You're making a declaration. You're saying, I'm one of the ones who's serious. I'm building internal wealth. I'm becoming who I'm capable of becoming. Look for others who've written the same word. Connect with them. This isn't just a channel. It's a community of people committed to living with wisdom, courage, and purpose. Write fortis now. Let me leave you with a final thought. 2,000 years ago, a Roman emperor wrote in his private journal, never intending for anyone else to read it, words that echo through time. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Marcus Aurelius had more money than he could ever spend, more power than almost any human in history. And yet his private reflections weren't about wealth or status. They were about gratitude for being alive. This is the ultimate secret about Stoicism and money. The goal was never wealth. The goal was wisdom. The goal was virtue. The goal was a life well lived. And paradoxically, that perspective often leads to more wealth than direct pursuit ever could. Because when you're not desperate, you attract. When you're not afraid, you can see clearly. When you're not attached, you can let go of what doesn't serve you. When you're not seeking validation, you can take risks others won't. This is the way of the Stoics. This is the way of the truly successful, and now it can be your way too. If this video has opened something in you, if you feel called to go deeper into Stoic philosophy and how it applies to modern life, I want you to watch our video on the daily Stoic routine that will change your life next. It takes everything we've discussed today and translates it into a practical morning and evening practice that you can implement immediately. Click on it now. It's appearing on your screen. Your transformation has begun. Don't stop now. This is Stoic mentality. And remember, it's not about what happens to you, it's about who you become. Until next time.